Where is the love? It is difficult to free fools from the chains they revere. Voltaire. As the shock began to marginally wane, I still felt drugged, vulnerable, and helpless. I felt absent, like a nomadic drifter with no resolution in sight. I had no one, owned nothing, and was beginning to feel nothingness. I felt alone. Alone with the struggle, alone with the violence, alone with the emptiness and guilt, alone with an anger inside, alone with the nightmares. The National Institute for Trauma and Loss in Children suggests that when someone witnesses a violent death, the resulting issues and feelings of powerlessness can consume them with intrusive thoughts, relived experience, and residual feelings of overwhelming terror. The Institute is unmistakably correct, but it's not rocket science. I would relive the night Kirk died in my mind 1,000,000 times, repeating it in a neurological loop, over and over, until I received help months later. I really had no choice but to forgive my family. I needed their emotional support and love and, with a bit of luck, an acceptance of my baby. As soon as we pulled into the doctor's office parking lot, my heart rushed with appreciation and my tummy fluttered with excitement. Finally, my mother and father had accepted my choice to keep my baby and even offered to pay for me to visit an OB/GYN to make sure everything was okay. I was waiting for Medicaid, but thanks to them, I could see a doctor right away. I was desperate for a doctor's assurance that my baby was healthy, still recognizing that it would be miraculous if I did not lose him or her. I couldn't cope with any more miscarriage hallucinations. We parked, and I almost found myself skipping to the front doors of the doctor's office they had chosen. My mind was racing. Would I be able to see our baby on a sonogram? My parents were paying, so they checked me in, and we began the customary, tedious wait. The waiting room was typically boring, featuring a medium-sized fish tank and various magazines strewn about on the side tables, but nobody was smiling. Everyone seemed downcast and talked softly. I could almost feel despair in the room. It gave me the heebie-jeebies, but I didn't know why. I slid my hands up and down my arms vigorously to warm the chill of the room's brazenness. Something about the feel of that office was all too recognizable to me, but I couldn't place the fear. Obviously uncomfortable, I sat between my parents like a little girl. I might as well have been bobbing around with pigtails and a cotton-lace bobby socks. You can do this, Amber. I gazed at the drab paisley carpet until my name was called. I fidgeted on the examination table in anticipation. Craning my head back, I saw a silly puppy poster on the ceiling. Oh, the embarrassments of being a woman. I swung my legs back and forth on the table like a giddy adolescent. I hope they'll let me hear the heartbeat today. I imagined the quick, rabbit-paced thumping of my baby's tiny heartbeat, a sound I would never ignore again. I couldn't help but form a crooked smirk and snigger out loud. I knew I was doing the right thing, and I was truly exhilarated. This baby gave me hope. There was a quick knock, and the doctor entered the examination room. He barely made eye contact with me and didn't ask me any of the common questions I had expected, like, when was my last period? I began to feel uneasy as I watched him squeeze on a pair of latex gloves. He told me to lie back on the examination table, put my legs into stirrups, and allow my thighs to relax. So I cautiously did. "Comfortable, Miss Cote?" he asked in a formal but honey-toned voice. "Yes, sir, I guess so. I shifted on the table, my legs quarreling against the strain. "Good. Are you ready?" He cut me off, motioning for a nurse to assist him. Ready for what? Alarms started to go off inside of my head as the nurse hauled around a machine and instruments I had seen before in nightmares and in real life. I sprang my head up, questioning him about what I was preparing for. The doctor moved closer, within feet of my virtually naked body. He dispassionately replied, "To terminate your pregnancy." What the hell? I jumped off that table as if it were on fire, stumbling out of the stirrups in the process. My stomach twisted with nausea. My God, they brought me to an abortion clinic. I couldn't believe the betrayal. That was it. I had taken enough. The abortionist received the lion's share of my pent-up fury. I snapped, accidentally spat, and screamed at him until my face went scarlet and literally felt hot. My throat was seared and raw, but I was still screaming as I slammed through the front doors, leaving without looking back. The puzzled faces in the waiting room couldn't divert their curiosity, watching me stamp away. I didn't communicate with either of my parents for weeks.